Hello everybody, welcome back to Easy Weeknight Cooking with Heart's Desire Spice Blends. And tonight we're doing an oldie but goodie recipe. This is Italian country style ribs. Now, it's actually really easy, and there's two different methods I'd like to let you know about tonight. First is the old tried and true, stick it in the oven. You're going to preheat your oven, of course, to 350, or the other way, it's right here in the Instant Pot. And that's actually a very quick way to do this if you're running short of time. So why don't we get started with an ingredients list? Of course, you're going to need country style ribs, be them pork or beef. Doesn't matter much, both of them are fantastic. So 2 pounds of country style ribs, you're going to need 8 ounces of mushrooms, 1/4 cup of red wine, and I'll give you a note on that later. 1 medium onion chopped, a clove of garlic, probably minced or sliced, a tablespoon of Heart's Desire Spice Blends, Italian herbs, 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste, 1 13 to 14 ounce can of diced tomatoes, and of course, olive oil for sautéing. So why don't we get started? Oh, before I get started, a note on the wine. You'll notice there isn't any sugar in this recipe. Oftentimes you'll use sugar as something to kind of bring down the acidity of those tomatoes. The wine is going to do that for you if you get the right kind. I like to use a sweeter wine for the Say Merlot or Zinfandel because that will actually add a little bit more sugar to those tomatoes and bring down the acidity, making it much more tasty. Meanwhile, that wine is really pivotal for this dish. So first, what you're going to do is, other than turn on your oven to 350, is going to light your pan and throw a little bit of olive oil in there, my darlings. And when that heats up, we're going to go ahead and put our country style ribs right on the heat and get some browning going on. We do want to develop some of that fond on the bottom of the pan, develop some of that Maillard reaction, which is going to add just that extra layer of flavor onto your dish. Now, can you do this without the browning? Yes. Will it be quite as good? No. So if you want to take it to the next level, make sure you go ahead and do not skip browning your meat or your vegetables. Going to just put these right on in and make sure there's a good amount of space in between each one. Get some of that olive oil all over that pan. This goes aside. You will need it later, and I'm going to rinse my hands. Now we're going to go ahead and prepare our vegetables. I have me onion, some garlic, and of course my sliced mushrooms. So I'm going to give these onions not a really coarse chop, but not a fine chop either. Put that aside. Start off with your cutting board, your garlic, and nicely wide knife. You're going to place your garlic right on your cutting board. Use the flat of the knife, blade facing away from you. Place the flat of the knife on your garlic and give it a smack. That makes it super easy to peel, breaks it up a little bit, so it's a lot easier to actually slice and dice. So it has actually broken things up a little bit, and now I can make a few slices into the clove of garlic, and I like to do 2 but not through the root end, and then turn it 90 degrees and give it a dice, holding onto that root end because it makes a wonderful little handle. The very end of the root actually gets discarded, and you'll go ahead and give it another dice back and forth, and that can go off to the side. So these look done. It is time. Rustle those up off the bottom of the pan. We've got some good browning going on here. That is nice. Oh my gosh. Would you look at that? That's exactly what I'm looking for. Look at that, my darlings. That's a thing of beauty. Put these aside. Time to throw in the aromatics. That is your onion and your garlic. Give that a quick stir. And now throw in your mushrooms, my darlings. I like using a really wide pan to begin with because, first of all, you have enough surface area for your ribs to really do wonderful things, and you have enough surface area for everything else to start browning well. That's part of the point of sautéing everything, is getting that Maillard reaction started and getting some browning on things. That Maillard reaction is what really elevates the flavors here. And so if you have the time, don't skip it. Now, that is going to sit and simmer for just a little bit, and this is just going to start more browning and more browning and more browning. We're waiting for those onions to soften a little bit and those mushrooms to get nicely brown, at least on one side. The bottom of my pan is getting very brown. We're starting to soften up a little bit on the onions. Some of these mushrooms are starting to get kind of a golden brown color on them, which is awesome. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And we are going to arm ourselves with a little bit of Merlot tonight. Like I said earlier, when you're choosing a red wine for this, you're really going to want to choose a red wine that has a lot of native sweetness to it. Normal Zinfandel or a Merlot will do beautifully with this. You do not want something like your Cabernet Sauvignon, because we don't need the extra savory on this. We need the extra sweet. And so you go for a sweeter red wine that will really complement your tomatoes and make it so you don't have to add sugar in order to combat some of that native acidity that comes with your tomatoes. Now, also, some of the ingredients in the Italian herbs will also help with that. We put a ton of fennel in there because, let's face it, you need the fennel in there in order to do things right here, correct? This is looking great. If I let this stay much longer, then I'm gonna be having things really sticking to the bottom of my pan, which I don't want. So, pour in your 1/4 cup of red wine, give it a stir, and you will find that almost immediately some of the brown bits come up really easily. But that red wine also tends to evaporate very, very quickly, especially with a pan that is this wide. So now throw in your tomatoes. Now your tomatoes will also help deglaze your pan or help bring up the liquid level in order to hydrate what's on the bottom of the pan, that fond, and make it a lot easier to bring up with your spatula. So letting this sit for just a little bit will also help soften that fond on the bottom of the pan so you can scrape it up and have fond not burn. And now I'm going to throw in my Italian herbs and my 6 ounces of tomato paste. Get it in my pan. Now, tomato paste is a natural thickening agent, so your sauce is going to get thick really quick. And you're going to go, Natalie, it's too thick. It's going to burn before it's all done. Trust the process, my lovelies. Trust the process. And now it is time to bring our ribs back over. These lovelies. And nestle them right there in the sauce. Make sure they've got full contact with the bottom of the pan, and you can actually turn off your pan at this point because this is going to be going in the oven. As you see here, we are well nestled. We are ready for a lid, ready to go in that oven. And that will be in there for about 4 hours, unless you're doing it this way. Let me go ahead and move things a little bit, and I will show you what's in this wonderful thing. So, what do we got here? Would you look at this? Oh, yum. Oh, put some of those mushrooms on top. Oh yeah. The only thing it's missing is a bit of fettuccine and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now, what did I do here? This was in the Instant Pot on pressure cook for 20 minutes. The stuff just falls apart. I need to taste some of this. Ah, it just comes right apart. Oh yeah. Just melts in your mouth. I love it. Make sure that you give me questions if you want to know something. I am an open book. I'm happy to do that. And you can email me at info@Hart hartspice.com. So from our kitchen to yours, you guys keep things tasty, have a wonderful dinner, and we will see you next week.